Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe of it.
VOP this morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday.
Welcome to People's Voice on your most exciting, informative, and educative TV station, Voice of the People Television, where the stories that matter most take the center stage as we continue to amplify the voices, concerned stories, and perspectives of the Nigerian citizens. That's you and I. Today, we are taking a deep, critical look into the developing story. Amechi eyes ADC presidential ticket, rules out stepping down. Well, interesting conversation there, because when you talk about coalition, it feels like the only alternative alignment for Nigerians. But the optics are clear, getting clearer by the day. I'm not going to step down, but we'll talk more about that. My name is Adefunke Jaisimi. And I have in the studio with me, Savior Udo. Hi, Savior.
Welcome to the show. Hello, Funke. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Well, let's look at some news stories at the moment and begin in Lagos State with the Lagos State chairman who has slammed Lagos market violence. The chairman of Lagos Island local government areas, Taiwo Oyekon, has condemned the violent clash between two salesmen at the Oluwole Urban Mall on Nnamdi Azikiwe Road, which left one person dead and disrupted trading activities on Wednesday. Clips of the altercation circulated online showing chaotic scenes from the Balogun market area with conflicting accounts of what sparked the fight. It was gathered from eyewitnesses that the dispute began as an argument between the two men. Then the disagreement escalated, leading to a fatal stabbing. Afterwards, bystanders reportedly restrained the attacker before handing him over to security operatives. The government is already stepped in, and of course security operators taking rightful position across the market to ensure sanity and safety within the Lagos Island market. But away from that story, the federal government ASU meets today. So report says that the federal government is set to make a counter offer to the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, in a bid to implement the stalled 2009 agreement. A high-level meeting is scheduled for today in Abuja, where the Ministers of Education and Labor, along with other officials, will meet with ASU leaders to finalize the agreement and establish a clear implementation timeline. The union has warned that further delays could lead to another nationwide shutdown of public universities. But in other reforms, a lot of analysts have suggested that there should be alternative ways and approach from ASU, because if this has been the style implemented over the years and nothing is being done differently, then maybe the association needs to look inwards. But on the part of the government, it's okay, and the right thing to do is to take responsibility and maybe just sort all of this once and for all, just so we can have a better space for our students in the universities. But let's move away from that story and go straight to where it's raining good news, joy, and happiness in Imo State, Nigeria, where the governor approves 104 naira as minimum wage. Yes, you heard that correctly. The Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodinma, has approved a new minimum wage for 400,000 naira for civil servants in the state, raising workers' pay in one of the boldest wage adjustments in Nigeria. And a lot of people have also talked about the pension and the gratuity, saying that it's going to be implementing this. But this is quite funny. I mean, it's not mere coincidence, because something news like this cannot just happen without proper planning. But just yesterday, we saw a town hall meeting in Owerri, where they call it the August meeting, where they were calling out the governor, asking and making demands on some of the projects that have been done in the state, and accountability on the part of the funds that the state has received so far. But 104 as minimum wage, a good move in the right direction. You would agree with me, but if you call it political, the people of Imo might not agree with you, because it's more money for them. Whatever politics is playing out doesn't really matter. Still talk about politics. PDP is actually intensifying move toward the former president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. And it's something that a lot of people have found as just just games, political gimmicks. Some leaders of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, are actually holding high-level consultations to get former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan to run on the party's ticket for the 2027 presidential race. Again, in another report yesterday, a deep analysis was done into what the court says about the eligibility of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan to run. And there's a part of the conversation around one of the bills that was signed by the late former president, Muhammadu Buhari, which has, in a way, it's clear that he might not be able to run, but I mean, I'm not a legal practitioner. We hope to see how these things play out, but good luck to the PDP, and we hope that this new PDP actually succeed and maybe weather the storm, because a lot is working against the PDP at the time. But let's talk about Osun ex-deputy governor who has joined the governorship race in the state. So another report says that Benedict Alabi, former deputy governor in Osun State, has declared his intention to run for governor in the 2026 elections under the APC in Osun State. Maybe good news for him. Still talking about the All Progressives Congress. The All Progressives Congress National Working Committee, WC, has stated that despite endorsing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the party's presidential candidate for 2027, other members can still purchase the presidential ticket to contest the primary election. The party's National Organizing Secretary, Sulaiman Mahmood Agungu, emphasized that the door is open for other aspirants. Maybe a good move there, but a lot of people would say maybe this is just to show who and who has money, or who and who might be nominated for appointments and, of course, contracts, because it doesn't seem like the Emilokon will end with the 2022 cry. It's something that we will be on until probably 2027 and maybe 2031. But yes, El-Rufai is in the news again. Former governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, has declared that he will not contest for any political office in the year 2027 elections, saying his renewed involvement in politics is only to support credible leadership at both the state and national levels. And when you talk about credible leadership, a lot of people have also questioned the potential of having credibility when it comes to politicians like Nasir El-Rufai, and what credibility actually means, seeing how he has been, I mean, what the journey has been like, his political trajectory. But all of this will be determined by the people. It's natural for politicians to feel like they know better, but it's more important for the citizens to go through the ballots and choose candidates of repute to ensure that Nigeria gets the kind of leaders that we actually deserve. But that's the much we can take on the news at this hour. It's time to get into deep conversation, but to be a part of the conversation, we really want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts. So do well to call us on 090-447-32605. 090-447-32605 is the number to call us via WhatsApp, or text us to let us know what you think about some of the topics we are discussing in the studio. And please follow us on social media at VOPTV Live. And you can use the hashtag People's Voice on VOPTV to be a part of this conversation. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People Television. Kindly hit the subscribe button, and together, let's make our voices heard. It's time for a break now. When we return, we'll come to talk about the drama in the African Democratic Congress, ADC, as the former Rivers State governor and chieftain of the ADC has thrown his hat into the ring for the 2027 presidential election, declaring no retreat, no surrender. Please stay tuned. Many thanks for staying with People's Voice on VOP Television. So we are getting into the conversations, deep dive analysis now with the former Rivers State governor and African Democratic Congress ADC chieftain, Rotimi Amechi, throwing his hat into the ring for the 2027 presidential election, declaring no retreat, no surrender in his bid for the party's presidential ticket. Amechi emphasized the need for an open primary election, stressing that he would not step aside for any aspirant. I mean, maybe this is expected because he didn't even step down in the All Progressives Congress where he was minister for 8 years and the optics were looking towards one direction. But either way, here is the full statement. Amechi said, and I quote, "I will contest the ADC presidential primary, and by God's grace, I hope to win so that I can face Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027. I am not stepping down for anyone. Let the people decide who they want to lead." Well, the former Minister of Transportation has criticized the current administration led whether the government wants to conduct credible elections or not. One thing is certain, time is up. Nigerians are tired because no one is happy under Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he stated. Amechi also expressed concerns about Tinubu's appointments, alleging that they do not reflect genuine inclusion. He said even among the Yoruba, many feel excluded. He only rewards a few individuals close to him, while the majority remain neglected. When asked about the possibility of the African Democratic Congress zoning its presidential ticket to the South, Amechi said that is a party's decision. I am just a member. Whatever the party decide, I will abide by it. But as far as I am concerned, I am in the race. Amechi also highlighted his qualification, stating, if you look at all those aspiring, including Bola Ahmed Tinubu, tell me, honestly, who is better prepared than I am? Yes, that's what he said. And yes, your guess is as good as mine, but I'll leave you to that. And maybe you just share your thoughts with us by being a part of the conversation. He said, again, I come from the South, and we are not in conflict with the Southeast, Southwest, or even the North. My candidacy offers unity. And it's interesting to say that a lot of people are showing interest. Peter Obi has talked about the 4-year term, if he is given the opportunity. And yes, Rotimi Amechi, who a lot of people might just feel like he's just a member of the party, has come to say that no retreat, no surrender. But as always, it's never a one-man show on People's Voice. It's time to get talking from a more detailed perspective. And now we are being joined by Bolaji Oluwatosin, Esquire. That's what they call you people. But barrister is better, Barrister Ola. He is a constitutional lawyer and a social analyst. And I mean, good afternoon, Barrister Oluwatosin.
Yes, good afternoon. Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm doing just well.
Okay, because Amechi said Nigerians are not fine, so I just wanted to know.
Of course, Nigerians are not fine, but it is not in the place of Amechi. I'm not saying he doesn't have the right to say this, but he lacks the moral rectitude to even make such a statement, because he has been a part of the system that have grounded Nigerians into poverty. Amechi was speaker, served 2 terms. Then, he transfigured into becoming governor of Rivers State 2 terms.
Right.
Then he moved on to becoming a minister. And
2
then
times.
He served 2 terms.
8 years.
And then he served as the
Campaign DG.
Campaign DG for Buhari. So these are people who have, bedeviled Nigeria and have relegated and denigrated us to where we are now.
Okay, so it's for you. You believe Nigerians are angry, but you feel like some of these conversations should not come from some people.
Yes,
they don't have the moral justification to do it.
It does not. It's just sad that Nigeria is a country where people forget too easily, and we allow people like Amechi, to become spokesperson for our grievances. So it's
okay.
I agree that
Basically, Barrister.
Yes.
When I saw that news, there is a line there that got me laughing.
Oh, okay.
I saw this mouse.
When Amechi said, and I quote, that if you look at everyone in the race, including the present, or the sitting president, that is more prepared. What is the yardstick in this preparation? And talking about the person, the Amechi person, talking about him and President Tinubu, do you think he actually poses any threat, or can he even?
Should Tinubu be afraid?
Should we even be worried or be bothered about? Sincerely, I just want to know.
I think that if you ask me, I'll be honest with you that our worry at this point should be that Nigerians are not as awake as they should. That should be our worry. Yes.
We're not as awake, even with all the popularity and social media jamborees.
It's not enough for us to lampoon in our house. It's not enough to. I'm not trying in any way to, invalidate our feelings and our expression on the space of internet. But I think that it is beyond a thing that would be on the internet. Yes, that's my opinion. Yeah.
Okay. So. Before we go straight into Amechi's personality, and of course we have established how morally fit some people are to have some conversations when it comes to Nigerian politics and the well-being, the genuineness behind really feeling for the people of Nigeria. What are your thoughts on Rotimi Amechi's decision to contest for the presidency under the ADC in 2027?
Okay, you see, the ADC is a platform, in my opinion, that I see as a marriage of convenience. And it's a disaster, if you ask me. The ADC is a disaster. What I mean by this is that it is a conglomeration of or convocation of persons who, you know, have been a part of the corrupt system, like I mentioned. They have set up a system, they have set up a weak institution for Nigerians. They have had the opportunities of, you know, transferring Nigeria from, you know, where we are to where we ought to be, but they have failed. These are people who are exposed. Let's be clear, they are exposed, they are well-traveled. You know,
so they know what is right.
Yes, yeah, they have been to other climes. They have seen how that governance, what governance indeed really should be like. Right. So returning to Nigeria, they have made the choice. So it's not as though you know, we would say that they are not exposed. They are exposed. True, it is true evil. You know the value of good. It is true sickness. You value health. You understand? Yes. So these people are well traveled. They are aware of what happens in other climes, and they have returned to Nigeria and made the choice to, oh, let's just, you know, run down Nigeria and enjoy the money. So
when we talk about ADC, okay, I just want to know, okay, from your own perspective, what do you think about the current position of this particular political party? You know, they came in, we call them coalition party, everybody coming in and out, and if you look at their formation, let me use that word, their formation, everybody is really desperate. Okay, so looking at that particular party, you know, as it stands now, what can you say, you understand, about them in terms of you assessing everything that has to do with ADC presently? I know they've not gotten to the part of zoning yet, but of course I would like you to talk about the party itself.
Okay, so the experience they bring to the table, that's the African Democratic
Congress, yes.
The experience that they bring to the table is experience of failure. That should be the first attention that Nigerians must give to that political party. And I mean it in all sincerity. It is the experience of failure, it is the experience of backwardness, and it is the experience of not anything good.
So, sorry, Vice Balaji, let me hold your thoughts.
I'm not just being pessimistic here. I'm not just being pessimistic.
No, we need to take this call, actually.
we have a call about this.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to People's Voice on VOP Television.
Good afternoon. This is Einaya calling you from Lagos.
Right.
Please, I want that's your analyst, that the barrister, believe me, is on point. He's intelligent. Please, I give him his onions. He's on point and he knows what is on ground. I totally submit to his opinion. But now, to my own, let me say something about Rotimi. The latest I hope you have had the latest revelation between Dangote, why Dangote refinery was not situated in Rivers State. Dangote said when he wanted to build a refinery, he came to Rivers State. He waited 6 hours just to meet Rotimi Amechi. And by the time when he finally met Rotimi Amechi asked for his share out of the Dangote refinery. Is that the kind of leader we are going to have, or we intend to have? According to your analysts, people that are failures in their political career trying to woo us back. My God, what is this world turning into? Now, Rotimi was Minister of Works, if I'm not mistaken, in Buhari's regime. What was his achievement?
Transportation.
Minister of Transportation.
Okay, Minister of Transportation, right. That he was able to make a rail down to Niger. Is that the kind of leaders we intend to have? My God, this is laughable.
All right,
and I told Okoro, if you I told Okoro, mark my word, the speed ADC came out or comes out is the speed they will return back. Where have you had Tambowa? Have you had Devon Mike? They have been chased into the fray, and believe me, I don't see substance there. And according to your analysts, they are a pack of failures, and they will remain failures for life. Thank you very much.
All right,
thank you. Let me take it up from where he talked about Amechi building railway to Chad or what have you. Okay, so for that, I'm not making any exceptions or case for him, but this is it. He was acting on instruction by the former president. But aside from that, now when you say ADC is a group of failures or what have you, okay, I would like to mention this statement. His successor came out and made claims about his wife taking 4 billion monthly. The wife only came out to say, I didn't do that. Now, Wike said that if only the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria can release the forensic reports, and the Nigerians would see what he is talking about. Now, Barrister, just to add up to what you said, if Amechi has all of these particular track records of, is either I take share or what have you, in government, the Dangote thing, I'm not just hearing it, but of course, I usually prefer a good source.
I mean, just speculation.
Do you understand? Not just speculations. How can someone come into your state to say he wants to invest and you're asking of kickbacks? So, but let's leave all of that. If he feels is the savior today, not me, and if he feels is the Messiah to help, the nation,
get out of poverty,
no problem. Everyone can actually aspire to acquire to think they can do anything. But Barrister, I would like to ask you this question: what do you think Amechi needs, to succeed in this particular race that he's thinking he can actually run?
I may not want to, advise Amechi on what to do, but in my opinion, if you ask me, I think he should go home.
Barrister, is it a case of go hard or go home now?
Yes, go hard. Yeah.
So for him, it's not to go hard.
He actually said no retreat, no surrender.
Of course, for virtually every person contesting at the primaries, that's in the ADC. For them, it's not about representing the people. It's about positions for them. It's about business. It's
personal interests.
Yes, personal interests. Of course. So, and if we have people who believe in self-glorification, you should already know that.
No, but that might not be the case, Barrister Bolaji, because we see these people.
With Amechi's track record.
Well, we see these people. You might call them failure, but at the end of the day, I had a conversation with another analyst the other day, and he was talking about how it's important to have failed to understand how to toe the path of success. Having been a part of governance from the beginning of the Fourth Republic in 1999 till now, maybe just 2 years out of office have made him understood what Nigerians are going through, and he just felt it was high time he started doing some revolutionary, taking some revolutionary decisions to help Nigerians, because it feels like there's always a bridge between the reality and what the experience of the political elites are. So maybe when thrown out of the bus, they get to see things differently. So don't you think that there is a possibility of these people genuinely understanding the plights of Nigerians and wanting to come and change the narrative?
I think that what Amechi believes is that Nigerians have selective amnesia, but we don't. Nigerians don't forget. We may not have been up and doing as expected of us, but the reality is that we don't forget. And people like Amechi, like I mentioned, should not even come anywhere close to daring to want to vie to be president of this country.
If you say we don't...
Again and again, like I would always say, the parameters for measurement of good governance is the quality of life of citizens.
Right.
So the question that begs for an answer now is that when Amechi had the opportunity of saving Nigerians, what did he do? On the scale of 1 to 10, would Nigerians rate Amechi on the level of 2 or 3? These are the questions.
If you say that we don't forget, and Amechi has boldly come to say no retreat, no surrender, put me and every other person on this contesting.
The implication
if you say we don't forget, the same Nigerians are calling Goodluck Ebele Jonathan to come and run again for president. Have you heard of the Bring Back Our Jonathan group?
Of course. The implication of that, that comment, Amechi didn't just make that comment believing that he has the people's support. He knows that, of course, the money back politics that played out in APC will still play out in ADC.
Oh.
No,
so
I think he talked about the people's support because he mentioned in the news that people welcomed him and they didn't pay a dime, to welcome him.
Okay, so Xavier, I don't want us to dwell on that welcome, because that welcome, we didn't even have 200 people.
See, I'm serious. I can bet you that.
Did you see the video of the homecoming?
I saw it. His homecoming.
There is no homecoming where you have a lot of people and the camera is only on you.
No, he said the crowd was so much.
Homecoming. So much where?
That was what he said. He said the crowd was so much that and they didn't pay a dime to get these people to come and welcome him.
Why was he? I exactly don't know why he mentioned that they didn't pay a dime. Of course, when people making this comment, you already know.
Because the same person came to the news to say they know how they win elections, and talk about how he was DG and how he has been constantly involved in Nigerian politics, and how these things are done.
Barrister Bolaji.
Yes.
My colleague just asked about someone else okay, which is Ebele Jonathan, the former president. Let me ask you, since to you now, Amechi's track record is not even a conversation for you, lovely, who do you think ADC should then project for their candidacy?
ADC, in all honesty, as Nigerians, I know I cannot speak for all Nigerians, but then my position is that virtually all persons in ADC were members of the PDP and members of the APC. They are all agreed.
Oh, that's why they are coalition.
Does it change anything? I mean, people came from all political parties to
including the ruling party.
Congress.
Okay, so that's how it was made.
Of course it does, because what we should be talking about here is the ideology. Are these people coming to help Nigerians?
But that's
so. If no, they may say, but we don't even have an idea of what the ideological concept that runs the political party.
But if we don't give them a chance,
how would you know?
Of course, we shouldn't give people like them a chance, and that's the point.
So that's why
you have a problem with the coalition or the people in the coalition?
I do. I have a problem with the coalition. I have a problem with the people in the coalition.
So what's the alternative alignment for Nigerians?
The alternative alignment is the coalition of the people.
But nobody can run an individual race when it comes to
politics.
politics.
Anybody should run an individual
race.
So how do we go about it?
What I'm suggesting is simple. That the people must come together and choose for themselves a leader that, in my opinion, is upright.
Okay, I'll react to that and I'll take you on that. Yeah. For the people to choose a leader that maybe they can hold accountable, we don't have the option of private candidacy in Nigeria. You have to be a candidate.
There are political parties in Nigeria, like the African Action Congress, led by Omoyele Sowore. There are persons like what's his name now?
But they've not been able to show workings.
Oh.
Even on Ondo State, Omoyele Sowore has never been able to win an election.
In Ondo State? He
yes.
did contest in Ondo State.
No, I'm saying as a presidential candidate.
As a presidential candidate.
Of course, you know what happens in Nigeria? Money back politics.
So it's so bad that even your people, you don't even have, you can't count 10,000 of the people in Ondo State?
The reality remains that...
Or count 5,000 people of the people in Ondo State?
They do not just use these political figures in Nigeria, do not just use money. They also use the political might, which includes the police, the Nigerian army, and every other instrumentality of terror that is within their capacity. They would pull down anything. They are out to kill and to destroy.
Okay, Barrister.
Yes.
You know, when I asked the question, I said, who do you think should be the best candidate? Okay, your alternative, just like we asked you here. All right, so you mentioned Omoyele Sowore.
Yes.
So are you indirectly saying you prefer him to come in?
Of course. See, for me, what stands out is his consistency over the years. You would agree with me that when Sowore says this is it, and that's what it will continue to be.
So you won't put Peter Obi in the same room or with Sowore when you talk about consistency?
No. Peter Obi has not been consistent. If we are to be fair with ourselves, he has not. Always fraternizing the people like IBB who annulled the 1993 election in the name of being politically correct and trying to please the godfathers. That's wrong in my political book. In my opinion, you shouldn't be seen fraternizing people like that. You shouldn't be saying, jumping from Labour Party, from PDP to APC, to
APGA.
From APGA back to PDP, from PDP back to Labour Party, and now you are meeting with members of the ADC.
But does that question his consistency? It might not be consistent with the vehicle when it comes to political party, but his idea and thought of trying to turn things around in the country might be consistent. He has constantly called out the government on bad policies, bad leadership styles, and called out the government on some of the the cost of governance. So don't you think that is consistent enough?
In my opinion, I don't think that's consistent enough. Yes, I don't think so.
Okay, so aside from moving from different parties from one party to the other, so what can you talk about his track record? Does he also have a bad track record?
Of course, in the political books, the records are clear that there have been instances where he had the opportunity of doing that, which is good, which he never did.
Which is
Doctors can speak to those things. There were strike actions when Peter Obi was governor in Anambra State. And people would run to justify that, of course, the doctors were asking for too much. What is too much in comparison with other claims? What is too much?
But he was able to save money.
It's not enough to save money. It's enough to save the people.
Let's talk about Rotimi Amechi before we leave this topic and go on a break. Do you think Amechi's criticism of President Tinubu's administration will resonate with Nigerian people, and will he be able to garner maybe love or pity
I've said it before that Nigerians don't have selective amnesia. And Nigerians will remember that Amaechi is not that person to align with. Nigerians will not pitch their tent with him. If he turns out to be the presidential candidate of the ADC, it will be a mission, that in my opinion I would count as one that is dead on arrival. So
what do you think? What are your predictions for the outcome of the ADC presidential primary and the 2027 general election?
It is going to be the ADC presidential primaries. I'm not a prophet of doom, but I know that it's going to be scandalous. It is going to be disastrous. And, as usual, some persons will head to court challenging the process of the primaries. I can assure you.
Even the parties in court right now.
Of course. So let's not be surprised that it will happen.
All right, Barrister Bolaji Oluwatosin, thank you so much for the insights on those topics. But let's go on a break now. When we return, we'll come to talk about this. I don't know. Maybe it's interesting where lawmakers are encouraging their citizens to protect themselves. But the story is that lawmaker buys arms after residents fight bandits with stones in a state. What state is it? You'll get to know after this break. Please stay tuned.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP this morning, 8 a.m. Monday through Friday.
Many thanks for staying with People's Voice on VOP Television. Very insightful conversations we've been having in the studio on Nigerian political dynamics. And something that is supposed to be very serious is becoming more like a joke because our politicians would not cease to amaze us. It feels like every politician just feels like he has the ticket, he has the jackpot. But let's move away from that story and go straight to Katsina State, where a lawmaker, Honorable Abubakar Muhammad, has bought arms for his constituents to defend themselves against bandits after villagers fought back with stones during an attack. The lawmaker said his attention is not to militarize the people, but to give them a fighting chance until security personnel arrive. Well, that's what he said. But in the name of defense, I don't know what we're supposed to call this savior. But we still have with us in the studio our guest analyst, Barrister Bolaji Oluwatosin, to do justice to this discussion. And it's good that we will be having a legal perspective to this analysis. Barrister Bolaji, I don't know how to react to this, but before I say something, and I will have to repeat it in the court of law. What's the right thing to do? Was it right?
It depends. Like lawyers will always say, it depends. In Nigeria, it is illegal to own firearms. It is illegal to distribute firearms. It is illegal to produce firearms, except, for licensed, guns. That's if you have obtained license from either the president or the inspector general of police, because owning ammunition in Nigeria, arms and ammunition, there's a National Assembly law, that's the Firearms Act, that regulates the ownership and distribution of firearms in Nigeria. So if you do not have the license from the Inspector General of Police or the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who is also the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, it is not in your place to own arms.
Okay, so my first question will arming civilians effectively combat banditry?
Okay, if you ask me, I would answer this question saying that, yes, if you harm civilians, of course, if the gun that you have armed them with is licensed, it will help in a way, to an extent, find solution to the challenge that we're grappling with. Because, between January and June, the National Human Rights Commission actually reported that there were over 2,000 killings that occurred as a result of insecurity in Katsina State.
Yeah.
So it is disheartening that these things are happening. We cannot shy away from the reality. We cannot shy away from the fact that, it is human lives we are talking about here. And the governments have failed in standing up to our responsibility, because under this Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 Constitution, particularly Section 14, it provides that it is the state's duty to provide security for the people. So where the government fails to step in,
that has caused a lot of confusion, because a lot of people keep saying that is the sole responsibility of the president.
I mean the state in this instance.
So the state actually.
The federal government.
Okay, so
Barrister, of the government. Yes.
Barrister, are there any measures in place, to use arms responsibly in Nigeria?
No, I don't think that there are. I don't think that there are. Our government is not doing enough to find solution to these challenges. So I believe that this platform is an opportunity for them to know that these are the pains that Nigerians are going through. They go to sleep at night with over 10 armed security policemen, with DSS, with the Navy, with all manner of security operative, failing to provide this for Nigerians. So I believe that this is a call to action for the government to stand up to the responsibility spelled out by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I have to mention this on national TV, that one of the reasons why it has become impossible to challenge these things in court is because the Chapter 2 of the Constitution, which captures and gives coverage to this security, to education, and to the most important things that would have transfigured Nigeria from what it is to a better place, are not justiciable. What this means is that there is a section of the Constitution, which is Section 6 of 6B, which causes these provisions to be impotent. It says that where government fails in this instance, you cannot institute an action against them. Where government fails to provide security, you can institute an action against them. That same Chapter 2 of the Constitution provides that education will be free to Nigerians from primary level until university. But then you can also institute an action against them, but it will fail in court because the Constitution also says it's injusticiable.
Wow. So it feels like the Constitution itself is confusing.
Exactly.
But you talk about government and the sole responsibility of the government protecting lives and properties of the citizen. But I mean, the government, there are 3 tiers of government, from local to state to federal. And there are also 3 arms, from legislative to executive and, of course, to the judicial. The legislative arm is where the honorable comes from now. It's part of government. So if he decides to do this to protect the people, is he in any way fighting the Constitution, or is he about him stepping in to protect the interest, not basically harming them now? It's about protecting the interest of the people and looking at the population and the data of how much lives have been lost in that particular state. And you know what it feels like when it comes to coming home, returning home from Abuja, and seeing a lot of family in despair, a lot of family dissatisfied with what is happening, a lot of family losing sons, daughters, husbands, fathers every day. Do you think this is this honorable being responsible as a government official?
In fact,
or maybe emotional.
In fact, the lawmaker in this regard, that is Honorable Abubakar, he clearly brought to our notice by way of his account, the account he gave, that these bandits usually rape these women, do all manner of unspeakable things to them, beat them, sometimes behead them, and then these people would have to use stones and sticks to chase these bandits.
To fight back.
So I believe that in honesty, he has made efforts to try to, in a way, help his people. But the question would be that has he done it within the ambit of the laws? Because there are laws that operate in Nigeria. In fact, arms and ammunition and security is under the exclusive list, particularly arms and ammunition.
Exactly.
Is under the exclusive list, which means that only the federal legislative arm can legislate over it. So if such a person is a member of the National Assembly, the question will be that, why did he bring it up before the National Assembly?
Or are there possibility of raising this and maybe dead on arrival? Because
of course, we are still arguing over state policing in Nigeria. So these are some of the issues.
But is this decision a reflection of failed the government failing?
Of course, it
in
is.
Totality.
Yes, of course, because our policing system is supposed to be a knowledge-driven policing system. What I mean by this is that if I've been contracted as a security agent to oversee Shomolu and I was born in Shomolu, I was raised in Shomolu, I grew up in Shomolu, I've lived my life in Shomolu. I say if I am recruited into the policing system that runs in Shomolu, what that means is that I know the terrains of Shomolu.
Right.
Yes. So these are some of the considerations that should be given. This is why some proponents like Ben Nwabuezi, like Professor Nnamdi Aduba, who are constitutional lawyers, they have argued that, our policing system should be one that is run by the state.
Exactly. Local
so
policing.
this would help in a way empower the states to make provisions for firearms to be, also matters that can be legislated by the states. So some of these vigilantes and these men who have been trained locally could also learn to use firearms and have license to use these firearms.
And they also share the weight of the federal government.
But he actually did this, to protect his people.
Yes.
But of course, no matter how good your intentions are, okay, it might still be against the government's will.
Well.
But could this actually cause any anarchy or violence or what have you in Katsina? Can it lead to it?
Of course, one of the fears that we have is that when you have people, proliferating firearms, using firearms without license, what it means is that there's likelihood that people will start to make all manner of guns and start to import all manner of guns, and before you know it, we'll have another Boko Haram sect.
Right.
Yes. So these are some of the challenges we may grapple with if this is not stopped. As as beautiful as the idea is, we have to operate within the ambits of the law. And where you intend to cause any civil disobedience, it should be in a manner as not to endanger the life of another person. Because you have the right to stretch your hand. Yes, but then your right stops the moment you try to pluck out another person's eyes.
Right.
So our operation should be within the ambits of the law. And this is why we are almost clamoring that Nigerians must rise. Beyond just talking, we must act. We must bring to the notice of the government via actions to make them know that there's need to stand up, there's need to wake up, there's need to secure Nigeria. Nigeria is not too big to secure. That is the reality. The only thing that has happened is that, the resources that are supposed to be channeled into, restructuring the security of system we have in Nigeria, has been siphoned. And that's a clear example of what happened in Jonathan's tenure under Dasuki, where you have the $2.1 billion Dasuki bid, which was, siphoned by all manners of political figures, like the late Donyo Kupe, who was the flag bearer for the Labour Party, and who was, holding the place for
the placeholder.
Yes, it was placeholder for was it Peter Obi or something? Yes, so these are some of the issues we are talking about.
Okay, these issues are quite personal for every Nigerian, because when we talk about evil and insecurity ravaging our communities, you can't talk about how far it is from you. Whatever affects one Nigeria definitely affects every Nigerian.
Yes.
I want us to look at the responsibility on the part of the government now. Do you think our states are not doing enough to protect the lives of people within their states? We understand that, yes, the federal government has the sole responsibility, and control over our security apparatus. But you've cited the case of suggestions made on the part of making policing local. On the part of the state's government, who are supposed to understand the local, the environment better. They work with commissioners who are indigenous, they work with SSAs, they have a lot of people, even in their political parties, they have representatives across different wards. I think that they are closer to the people. So do you think our governors are responsible enough, or they are hiding under the constitutional provision that made it look as if it's the sole responsibility of the president to protect the people and shine away from actually protecting the lives of the citizens?
Okay, so I think that dishonesty is the reason why it has not been very clear to Nigerians that the governors do not actually have so much power to legislate over security operation in Nigeria. Now, I say this because, constitutionally, the president is not just the president. Tinubu is not just the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He's also the commander-in-chief of armed forces. And, what this means is that he controls the armed forces in Nigeria. He controls the parastatals in Nigeria. He makes appointment of the head of these parastatals. Now, looking at the microzoning it down to the policing system we operate in Nigeria, the Inspector General of Police directly reports to Tinubu. What this means is that if anything is happening, the chain of command is structured in such a manner that you have the Inspector General of Police, you have the Assistant Inspector General of Police in different states. In fact, in Lagos State, there are about 5 Inspector General of Police. And then you have the Commissioner of Police in many of them in Lagos State here.
Yeah, across states, there are always
across
a lot
state,
of
there
them.
are many. Like, I mean, in Lagos State here, we have the CP or Commissioner of Police Squad in Alagbon. We have another CP in the Lagos State Command. You understand? So the point I'm making is that they don't report to the governors in the state. They report to the Inspector General of Police. The policing system is structured in such a manner as that an assistant superintendent of police will have to report to the superintendent of police. The superintendent of police will now have to report to who is his boss. So when the governor calls on the Inspector General of Police, the Inspector General of Police will have to call the president before moving. So it is not in the place of the state, but dishonesty comes in the place of the state governors in this angle. From this angle, the state governors have been receiving security votes, right, to the tune of multi-millions. They have failed to say anything about it. This free money, of course. So they are interested in just taking the money and not doing anything for their people. But
so the relationship with the community. I mean, you've analyzed how this structure works.
Yes.
But there are kinetic and non-kinetic approaches to issues, especially national issues. What are the things that can be done locally in terms of relationship, in terms of meeting, in terms of conversations and understanding the dynamics of the environment? I know that, yes, arrests can be made and decisions can be taken and it has to do with orders from above. But within the state, how much relationship is the governor supposed to have with the people, and how aware is the governor supposed to be of what is happening in the state to understand the peculiarity of their states and be able, I mean, when it comes to insecurity, we have states that are doing better than other states. So what are the things that can be done? Because you cannot just leave the lives of the people to whenever the president comes to talk. The other time President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was in Benue State, he talked about relationship. I watched that live where he was advising the governor to do the right thing, call the heads of security apparatus in the state. He even talk about head of communities, political leaders and aggrieved parties, leaders, religious leaders and all, to talk about what is, I mean, it's their state. Whatever the president will hear is a report. And the same thing, when the First Lady was in Plateau, she also talked about not wanting to constantly come to give help to the people or help them with IDP supports and all that, and how local relationship is important. At the end of the day, I cannot constantly talk about my landlord who built the house because I paid the rent to him and not protect the interest of my children in my house. So, how do you react?
And to add to that, what is the role of the government, in tackling these security challenges?
You see, my opinion is that the press statements, the security of the people is not supposed to be a subject of just mere press statements and no action after it.
Okay.
Because that is what happens in Nigeria. It's a press statement situation. Anything happens, they release press statement.
Press release.
They visit. Then
no, the visit has even reduced. Yemi Osinbajo was a professional in visitations.
Exactly. In fact,
it became an abuse.
No, but it was not dropping money like the...
Who says so?
Renewed. No.
Who says so?
Maybe then it was not announcing.
Did you visit you? May he never visit you because Yemi Osinbajo never visited anywhere where something good was happening as it were. It has to be that something...
In fact, I grew up in a community in Niger State called Mokwa, where there was a time there was
they're still in the news. I know, but yeah, we hear.
So there was a time that it didn't just start. This flooding thing didn't just start. There was a place called Tatabu where the bridge literally collapsed.
That's as if you're going to Etuyaya.
Correct.
Of course.
To be there. So Yemi Osinbajo paid a visit to Mokwa, our community there, and just to affirm what you just said. So to answer your question, I would say that security should not be about press statements. It should be beyond that. It should be that if the government stands up today, serious government will not just make press statements and go to sleep. These things don't happen in America. Yes, we know that there are gun violence going on in America, but you see that the government gets serious. You know why? Because the government understands their responsibility. They know that quietly the natural resources of the people in many parts of the south Nigeria, in many parts of the western Nigeria, in the north, in many parts, have been nationalized. What I mean by this is that if today the government finds crude oil on your soil, it becomes the government's.
Yeah, of course.
It becomes the government.
So
if the government have taken over what is of the Ogoni people,
all right,
and nationalized it,
Barrister Bolaji, we need to.
So
we are pressed for time. Thank you so much. It feels like it should not end this conversation. Thank you so much for joining us on People's Voice today. Well, that's how we draw the curtain on the show today. It's been a very insightful conversation, and to our viewers, thank you so much for being a part of the show. Until next time, stay informed, stay